Hey guys, I just wanted to give you guys a quick update about what's going on with Lillian. Since it's been a while since I've posted, and I said that I was going to post last week and then I didn't post last week, and I had a video, but I didn't really like the video. Anyway, so this is probably going to be like a one take, and because I don't really feel like editing, I might edit, I don't know. Just it all depends on how busy my afternoon is. Anyway, so I just wanted to touch base with you guys and let you know how things are going with Lillian. I just pulled hair. Listen, don't look at how bad my hair looks because it's been a while since I've washed it. I don't wash my hair but like twice a week. So anyway, yeah. So things are going really great with her. We are now 8 or 9 weeks post-op, which is fantastic. It's going great. Everything's great. We had her 6-week post-op exam the beginning of August. It's been a while. It's been a minute. And everything looked fantastic. They said she's healing really well. There's no malformations with the healing. Her chest looks great. Her incision looks great. They did an echo and the heart looks great. They did say that there was still a tiny murmur, but they're not worried about it. It's not affecting the function of her heart, and it's not creating excess fluid or anything, and so they're not worried about it at all. So Lillian is now, for the first time in her life, off of any kind of medication. The only thing that she takes now is vitamins, which I take vitamins, John takes vitamins, everybody takes vitamins. So she's doing really great. She has no restrictions. She can run, she can play, she can do what she can't run because she can't physically run, but if she wanted to, she could. They have no restrictions on her whatsoever. We do have to keep an eye out, just to make sure that she has no blows to the chest, but how often do kids get a direct hit to their sternum? I mean, unless at less than 2 years old. Probably not often. And our house is relatively safe, so I'm not really worried about that. But just as a precaution, they want us to make sure that she kind of stays away from direct hits to the chest. It's not like she's in any kind of sports or activity, so I don't think we have to worry about that. And so moving forward, we still have a couple of doctors that we have to see. She is back to her regular visits with Dr. Shaw, and we will see him, I think, in September. He managed to squeeze us in. That was a whole other story, but they were going to switch us in cardiologists, and I was like, no. We love Dr. Shaw. Dr. Shaw is the only cardiologist that Lillian has ever known, and so we are sticking with Dr. Shaw. And I don't know if I touched on this in a previous video. I think I did, but just to refresh your memory and my memory and everyone's memory, Lillian, when she was born and they discovered that she had this AV canal defect, they wanted to look into possible causes and reasons why she developed this defect. And so because of that, they asked us, medical history questions and things like that. And, my mom and my sister had heart murmurs, and I have a cousin who also had a heart defect that was repaired when he was like 4. And so I told them that, and so they decided to run genetic testing on Lillian while she was still in the hospital. And what they found was what is called a marker chromosome, and it was mosaic, so that means that it's not in all of her cells. So they decided to do further testing to see if they could identify what chromosome was causing the problem. They were unable to identify what chromosome it was, and as a matter of fact, when they went to do further testing, they couldn't find the marker chromosome at all, which for us, we were just like, okay, well, I mean, I know scientifically she's not healed, but for us that meant like, okay, she's healed. For them, it meant that she was a medical mystery and they wanted to keep an eye on her. So there was a brief moment where they thought she had cat eye syndrome. She clearly does not have cat eye syndrome. We went to see the eye doctor and they couldn't identify anything. We did several tests. That's a long story and a story for another day. But anyway, so we have to see a geneticist. His name is Dr. Waringa. I can't say that very well. And we saw him just a couple of days ago for her yearly exam. We have to see him. They originally told us that we have to see him once a year until Lillian is 5. But I think that that's changed, and I'll get into that in a minute. And then we also see a neurosurgeon because as Lillian was growing, she had premature fusion in the bones in her skull, which is called craniostenosis, and so we see Dr. Mapstone for that. So let's talk about her. I already talked about her recovery. So we are now back with Dr. Shaw. We'll see him in a couple of weeks, and then just an update on the genetics doctor. That is quite the story. We went in to see him on Monday, and the exam was fine. And then he started asking me about Lillian's development, and he seemed to be concerned that Lillian is not walking yet. Lillian is 15 months old, and theoretically she should be walking. And so I said to him, she was 2 months premature. She also was essentially bedridden for 6 weeks right after her first birthday. So in my mind, hello airplane. I don't know if you can hear that, but in my mind, it seems to me that that's pretty normal that she's not walking yet. Now, when I say not walking, she's attempting to walk. So we are very, very close to her actually walking. She cruises around furniture. She stands up on her own. She uses literally everything: chairs, stools, her walker. She's got a little activity table that sometimes, because we have wood floors, so she'll walk with that around. We also have a walker that she can sit in. She uses everything as a walker. She is trying to walk. She's taken 1 or 2 steps on her own so far. So it's not like she's not attempting to walk or that she's not walking at all. She is. And he still seemed to be very, very concerned about that. And it was a very frustrating doctor's visit. Without getting into too much detail, it was probably the most frustrating doctor's visit I've ever had, because he just kept forcefully recommending that we get her physical therapy. And I'm not against getting her into physical therapy if that's something that she needs. But right now, I just really don't feel like she needs it. She's trying to do the things that she's supposed to do. And I mentioned to him, she was bedridden for 6 weeks. She, when I say bedridden, she was restricted for 6 weeks. All of these different things. And he was like, well, it could be that, but we also don't know what this marker chromosome is doing in her body. And so, that could be a developmental delay and, all of these things. And I said, well, my plan was, and still is, and will continue to be, that if, her cardiologist and her neurologist and her pediatrician, which is top on the list, is not concerned about her not walking, then I'm not going to be concerned about her not walking. If one of those 3 recommends that we go and see, because first of all, these other 3 doctors, we see or have seen Dr. Shaw up until this point. We have seen Dr. Shaw once every 3 months since she was born. We see Dr. Pope every time Lillian is sick, every time That's her pediatrician, sorry. Every time Lillian is sick, every time she has a well baby visit, every time she needs her Synagis shot, we see Dr. Pope. And so those two doctors we see all the time, Dr. Mapstone and Dr. Waringa, the neurologist, neurosurgeon, whatever he is, brain guy, and the geneticist, we see them once a year. So I'm sorry. Those other two doctors are much more familiar with her case. And so I said, we see them all the time. They are aware of this marker chromosome. They are aware of the potential problems that it could cause. And he basically said to me, yeah, well, they're not geneticists, and so they don't really understand the scope of this. And while I somewhat agree with what he's saying, obviously they don't have the same type of education as a geneticist does. They do see a wide range, specifically Dr. Shaw, because a lot of kids who have the AV canal defect have Down syndrome. So he knows, and it was an hour-long conversation about why we should take his word for it and not the other doctors and experts. It was just it was so frustrating, and I ended up leaving just kind of nodding and smiling and saying, well, I'll think about that, when in reality I'm not. There's nothing to think about. So it was just a very frustrating situation, and I wanted to include that visit in this video because I think it's really important, at least for me, maybe for other new parents out there. It's really important to me to remind myself to be the advocate for Lillian that I am supposed to be. She can't speak for herself. She doesn't know how to speak for herself. She doesn't have that capability yet, and won't for many, many years. And so it's my job as her mom to make those decisions, to fight for her, and I will continue to do that. And, sometimes, especially for people who are watching this who are heart parents, sometimes that does mean going against medical advice. I'm not saying that on all accounts, but for this specific scenario, when a doctor is pushing for a type of treatment that is not free, they do offer it for free, but the system is quite saturated at the moment, and they are lacking fundings. So what we would need to do, this is coming straight from our pediatrician's mouth, they essentially, in our area, they don't have the capabilities to see every kid unless they are severe. And so if we just want to get physical therapy just to kind of help her out, she's not considered severe, and so therefore we would have to pay to see that specialist, and it's not cheap. You're recommending a medical treatment that's not necessary, that's not cheap, and you're being very forceful about it, essentially attempting to take away my right as a parent to speak for my child. And that is not okay with me, and I will fight you on that on every front. Now, I didn't feel like getting into an intense argument with him at the time, and so I just said, well, we're not going to do that right now, and just kind of repeated myself. And I said, if at 18 months she is not walking, then we will seek help. And he said, well, that may be too late. And I said, well, that's just what we're going to do, and I'm going to visit with her pediatrician and her cardiologist, and that's the decision that we're going to make. And he was not happy about that. So then we continued on with the appointment, and again, he mentioned that her skull looked weird. He said to me, I noticed that her skull is a little bit narrow and she has craniostenosis. And I said, yes, we know. We see Dr. Mapstone for that. And he's not too concerned about it at the moment. It's not causing any harm to her brain or her development. And he's not concerned with the cosmetic effect of it. And so he's not wanting to pursue surgery. And he said, well, what we've seen in cases like these is that the child's, like I'm not using the right words, but basically visually it becomes worse as they get bigger. And I said, well, she's actually, Dr. Mapstone and I both agree that she actually is kind of going the opposite direction, and it's looking much more improved and doesn't look quite so large and strange. And I agree. When she was younger, it did not look like other kids. And he said, well, I guess we just won't know until she's older. It might look very weird, is what he said to me. Okay, thanks, jerk. And he was like, well, you wouldn't even need to see a neurosurgeon for this anyway, because this would be a craniofacial doctor and she would need plastic surgery. And I said, well, I just really don't feel comfortable putting her through another major surgery. And she's beautiful and she's perfect, and we're not interested in it at the moment. He said, well, if Dr. Mapstone doesn't give you a recommendation to a craniofacial doctor, I know this great doctor, and blah 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 blah. Now, I don't know if because that's 2 referrals that he made to me in the course of an hour. 2 referrals that are not cheap, by the way. And so I don't know if there's a reason that he is handing out referrals like candy or what, but he seemed very adamant about it. And again, this goes back to being an advocate for your child. You have the right as a parent to say, no, my child is not going to be traumatized anymore. No, we do not need this elective surgery. No, I'm not putting her through any more hospitals. You have that right. Now, each circumstance is different, and this is not a life or death kind of situation, so I don't think that I would apply that to that kind of situation. But for our situation in particular, it is an elective surgery, and no, I'm not going to do it. Lillian is going to grow up and learn to be confident in who she is, not based on her looks. And she's beautiful anyway, so I don't think she'll ever even have to worry about that at all. But her identity is not based upon how round her head is. Her identity is found in who she is, who we raise her to be, and who she is in God. And that is the foundation that we want to raise all of our children in. And so I'm not going to get an elective surgery for her to look more normal. And I don't think that it's fair or right for another doctor who sees her once a year to say that about my child. So it was not a good visit in terms of I was not satisfied with the visit. I was not happy with that visit. And then I tried, they send you these surveys, and I tried to fill out the survey, and I guess they got something wrong on her birth date, so I can't even fill out the survey and tell them what I think. Anyway, needless to say, it was a lesson learned in learning to speak up for Lillian, because becoming an advocate for your child doesn't happen in a vacuum as soon as they're born. Maybe for some people it does, but for less aggressive personality types, I think it probably takes a little bit of time. And I have grown over the past 15 months of being Lillian's mom and learning when to speak up and how to speak up. And so I just encourage you to do the same. So moving on, there's like a piece of lint that's like floating around my living room. Anyway, moving on, we had Lillian's 15-month well baby visit today, and she weighs almost 22 pounds, and her head obviously is measuring a little bit big. And she's in the 55th percentile for weight. She's in the 7th percentile for height, which that's been pretty consistent for her growth chart overall. She's a shorty little shrimp, I mean, if you put her next to a kid her age, she looks like a 6-month-old. So, I mean, it is what it is. And then her head growth is not on the chart in a big way. So, um, you know, her pediatrician and I always kind of have a little bit of a laugh with that. And like I said, her pediatrician is not at all concerned with her not walking yet. She said, let's give it another month before I recommend physical therapy, because she looks and sounds like she is right on the verge of walking. And if I make you a recommendation, they chances are they won't be able to see you for another month or two, and by that point she might be walking. So we're just going to wait it out for now. So yeah, that is the 20-minute update for Lillian. I'm going to have to edit this. This is so long. Anyway, that's where Lillian is at. So moving forward with this channel, we're still going to do updates whenever we have doctor's appointments, just because it's easier for us to get the word out to friends and family. But also, I've received a few really positive responses from other families on YouTube who are going through a similar thing with having a heart baby or a preemie baby, and so it makes my heart glad to know that this is reaching the people that need to see it. And so we are still going to continue with that, but we also want to do like a weekly or bi-weekly vlog just of our lives and our day-to-day activities. It may be a little bit difficult because I'm about to start working full-time again, but we have big plans for different things that we're going to be doing, and this is really, really fun for us. That's the whole reason why we love to do this. And even though John's not super crazy involved in the process, he loves it. And so I know he wants to do some cooking things and gardening things and have it on video, and we've got some trips planned in the near future that we want to vlog. And so yeah, and you know, of course the holidays are coming up, and so that's always an exciting time around any household. And so we are definitely going to keep you guys up to date on those. So let me know if you guys would be interested in doing a weekly or bi-weekly vlog, in not doing, but in seeing us do a weekly or bi-weekly vlog, because we are really, really interested in doing that, and we might put up a couple here and there. So yeah, let me know. Give this video a thumbs up, or tell me in person, because most of the people who see these are my friends and family. So so yeah, that's where we're at. We're really excited for the future. We've got a couple of other things in the works in terms of just like family life and projects and things like that. We also yeah, so we're just really excited and can't wait to share that with you guys. So thanks so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, or if you want to see more from us, and we will see you guys in the next video. We love you. See you later. Bye.